All right, let's use an example from ethics. Ethics in international marketing. So here would be an example of extending your answer. Let's say someone asked you about how is ethics affected by the 6 environments, right? First of all, you hope that everybody's arriving on time and not too many people late. We'll just leave that in the video, okay? Here's an example of extending your answer. You might say ethics is affected by the social cultural environment because people from different cultures have different ethical attitudes. That would be maybe, B or B plus answer. Here's how you extend that. Because the economic environment, technological environment brings so many cultures together in urban centers around the world, there's sometimes conflict between cultures. So when you just say the social cultural environment by itself, that doesn't really mean, what you mean to say is when there's different cultures in a social cultural environment and they have different opinions about things like marriage or gender or dress or employment or food, and sometimes those come into conflict because of the way they observe or don't observe certain civil and criminal laws. That's what we end up with a sort of unethical situation. So that's how you extend an answer, by dragging it out to get an A+, okay? And that's what I want you to think about for the exam. So the way I write the exam is I give you a little bit more time than you might need for the questions, and you look at your watch and say, hell, it's an hour and a half, I'm already done, and there's 2 hours. No, what you do is you go back and you look at some of your sentences that you wrote and think about how you could add on something. A good part of it is to say, well, here's something, and the reason why this exists is because. And these are the other influencing features that caused that to happen. And these are the other groups that are changing. You can always add something about the technological environment, the fact that the technology is fast-paced, which creates communication stresses and so on and so on. So that's how you would extend an answer. So we're talking about counter-trade, and here's another example of extending your answer. Why counter-trade? Or what are some of the reasons why a company would be involved in counter-trading? So you can say something like, well, because the economic environment causes companies to have more opportunities for doing business than they might not normally come across, globalization, and some countries don't have the currency to pay, so you take another product in kind and turn around and sell it at a profit. That's the fundamentals for counter-trade. And if you explain that, I would say that's a B answer. How do you extend that to an A answer? You say, well, if you add in things like talk about the technological environment. The technological environment, meaning the internet, allows you to find out some of these opportunities through searching news stories on the internet, also blogging and Facebook pages, YouTube channels. It also allows you to know about the possibilities for selling that product and having opportunities. You could turn around and say, well, eBay is listing a lot of these things available from this country. So that would be the technological environment. Also the social cultural environment. Many people around the world living in other countries means there's a greater opportunity for providing different types of food and different types of clothing that are maybe not available in that country. So that's a common thing that can be used in counter-trade. You might take different type of clothing from one country and bring it back to Canada to sell, even though it might not be the typical type of thing that the average Canadian might be. Because of a large number of social cultural dynamics here, there would be thousands of people in that language or cultural group. Political, legal, regulatory environment, government rules and regulations. There's a lot of free trade agreements, and there's a lot of situations where governments are rescinding rules and regulations about being able to do business. So that's the political environment that allows it easier for counter-trade to exist. So if you said those things, that would be, you get stuck. If you can't think of anything to say, just think about food, clothing, and transportation. Because like I joked with you in class before, if you don't have food, clothing, and transportation, you're naked and you're hungry and you're standing by the side of the road, which in my case is a pretty ugly sight. But just think about that. Those are the products that all the branding and international businesses associate with, right? Transportation, both short-term, long-term, getting from large distances. Food, because you need that on a regular basis. And clothing, because clothing reflects the social cultural environment. So you can always add on things about the 6 environments to almost any question. In fact, any question you could say at the very end, and because the fast-paced technology environment allows something to happen, which is in turn influenced by the social culture dynamic of our blended economy, okay?